Welcome to Ad America. I am Andrea, one of the e-guides here, and I hope everyone is doing well today. If you're new here, Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. And our event for today is called Youth Competing for Jobs in a Radically Changed Workplace. But before we jump into today's event, I would like to give a little fun fact of the day. Did you know that Gen Z workers are more willing than other generations to leave the workforce entirely if it's not working for them? 62% of Gen Z indicate they have started or intended to start their own business. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator, Muhammad Iqbal Darmawan, ASEAN Youth Ambassador, to the stage. To Kak Iqbal, the stage is yours.
All right, all right. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone who is here today on site at America, and also everyone who is watching us at home. How are you? I hope you guys are doing fine. I am super, super excited. My name is Iqbal Jarmawan, and it's I'm really happy to be back here in Ad America to be hosting another talk show again with all of our beautiful and also, very experienced expertise. All right, so if last week we were talking about the future of education, this week we're going to talk about a little, something a little bit more interesting. And I'm pretty sure this is something that is also very closely related to you guys. If you are a fresh graduate or a high school who is still looking for maybe what kind of opportunity that I would have in the future, this talk show is going to be really, really cool for you to watch because like I'm pretty sure that the experts will give you so many insight of the possibilities of what kind of job and also careers that you will have in the future. Because today we'll be talking about youth competing for jobs in a radically changed workplace. So as you might know, the development of technology and also the COVID-19 pandemic has created a, basically a very new trends, not only for a lot of different fields in our world, but also in the job and also the careers in the future. So want to know more about what are some of the opportunities that you can have in the future? Stay tuned on our talk show today. So as usual, I'm not alone. I'm going to be accompanied by some of our expertise here. And joining us online, we have two speakers. The first one, we have Ibu Muharan Saro Dato Haji Sariki. She is the Vice President of and also Group Research on Development and Policy from Malaysian Professional Talent. And joining us online also, we have Ibu Lani Wijaya. She is the Senior Enterprise Account of Executive at LinkedIn Singapore. So we're going to get to know them a little bit closer after this, but we also have someone who is also joining us on site, and he is Mr. Eddie Saputra, the co-head of people at Awan Tunai, Indonesia. Is that correct? All right, so why don't we just invite him on stage? Mr. Eddie, you can come on a stage. All right, so without further ado, let's get to know to all of our three expertise a little bit closer after this. All right, Mr. Eddie, you can have a seat. All right, so maybe we can get close to all of our speakers a little bit, a little bit more intimate, so that we can have, very much information that we can get from them. So first of all, we have Mas Eddie or Mr. Eddie. Mas Eddie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also your background?
Yes, Iqbal, thank you so much for opening the session today. So yeah, I'm Edi Saputra, currently the co-head of people at Awan Tunai. So yeah, I'm responsible for recruiting, building, town development, and end-to-end HR activities, especially for the digital tech talents in Awan Tunai. So Awan Tunai itself is actually a fintech startup. We have a talent that is located across different continent. We have in Indonesia, Singapore, India, China, US, and UK. So yeah, I think I'm so much excited to share from the practical point of view of the topic today.
Thank you so much, Mas Eddie. We're going to get to know more about Baby Awantuna and also the future jobs that a lot of our audience are going to have in the future. Okay, but next we're going to get to know also to two of our expertise who is joining us online. First one, we are going to get to know to Miss Mahuran Saro Dato Haji Sariki. Hello, Mrs. Mahuran. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mrs. Mahoran, can you tell us a little bit about your background and maybe what are the things that you are currently doing now in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me to this session. Okay, my name is Mahuran. You can see my name is quite different, but actually my hometown is in Indonesia. Okay.
Oh,
My-
okay.
okay. Okay. So my grandpa is come from the other side. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would like to share that I'm actually come from a generation of baby boomers, okay? And now today we are talking to a group of, I believe it's a Gen Z and also millennium. So excited to listen and to share what I have later on in the subjects, okay? And what I do at Talent Corp, Talent Corporation is an agency under Government Ministry of Human Resources of Malaysia. And when we go on the agency, we actually being mandated on the talents program. So, but the subject that I under my purview is on research about talent and also a program, a Malaysian professional talent.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mahoran. We're going to get to know more about what are some of possibilities that we can get as the youth for our future careers too for you from you. Thank you so much for the brief introduction. Next, we also have Mrs. Lani Wijaya, a senior enterprise account executive at LinkedIn Singapore. Hi, Mrs. Lani.
Hello, hi Mas Iqbal and also Mas Eddie and Bu Mahuran. Yeah, so it's a privilege to be here. Super excited. And just a brief introduction. My name is Lani Wijaya. I'm actually Indonesian. I born in Jakarta, but I moved to Singapore when I was 12 years old. So I'm dialing in from Singapore today. And I've been in Singapore working for 15 years now, and the last 8 years was in LinkedIn. So I help companies in what I do at LinkedIn. I help companies, especially in Indonesia, to hire, retain, and develop their talent using LinkedIn Talent Solutions.
Wow, that is very interesting. Cause I think nowadays LinkedIn has been really popular amongst like young generation, especially for those who is looking for opportunities and also learning new knowledge as well. You know, it's not only for searching for new opportunities, but also we can develop ourselves through LinkedIn. I'm super excited to learn more from you, Mrs. Lani, and I'm pretty sure everyone who's watching at home is also very excited to learn more. All right, so without further ado, maybe we can have a little bit of discussion. So, first of all, I think I'm gonna ask a very general questions to all of you, but I think I really wanted to know first about regarding the COVID-19. Of course, a lot of things has changed. You know, not only like the field of education and also like maybe like business in general, but opportunities are also growing and maybe a lot of different job or like new opportunities are open for our younger generation. I want to know maybe first from Ibu Mahuran, um, in terms of competition, how do you think youth nowadays can compete in ASEAN, especially for looking for like a new job or opportunities? Do we is the competition getting stronger or like the opportunities are there? What do you say about it, Ibu Mahoran?
Okay, talking about what happened, because I believe everyone's aware that after the pandemic, okay, after 2 years, it's an opportunity actually to all, to everyone, business and also the talent, okay. So during that pandemic, everyone's aware that everybody are forced to work from home. So when we are talking about work from home, okay, we'll see that what is the company will think of what is the productivity like, what kind of platform that the company should give to the talents. Okay, so in terms of that, we can see that the ideal the competition of the job, okay, is also is very important, and even it's actually you can see looking at the report, yeah, by the World Economic Forum on the future of job. Yeah, this is actually in 2022, and when did our COVID come? It's in mid 2020. You can see that the positions, yeah, like cloud computing, the big data, or digital related are priorities on that time. So you can see this is a very significant, yeah, I would say a significant signal to all the generation, the talents, yeah, that we need to be competitive, okay, to that line so that you are marketable. Okay, we are talking about the opportunity of the job, and at the same time, we also look what is the environment, the facilities given by the company, because if go line together in terms of the competitiveness.
Right. So, of course, that the competitiveness is getting more and more. What is it like? More and more like stronger day by day. But at the same time, it's also we have seen a lot of different opportunities coming up. I think this is something that we need to explore more because, like, obviously, a lot of our younger generations are getting more and more also very, like exploited with exposed with a lot of different opportunities and also learning from that opportunities as well. But maybe we also talk about the status of the youth capacity themselves. Maybe I would like to learn from Ibu Lani, as someone who is working at LinkedIn. How do you think the youth capacity for skill development in the future workplace is there more opportunities coming up for them to develop themselves, or in relations to the workplace that is existed? How can you say about this development, Ibu Lani?
Yes, thanks, Mas Iqbal, for the question. So I really echoing Bu Mahuran mentioned earlier that due to COVID-19, everything is being accelerated, right? So the way that we work, the way that we actually live has changed, right? So from what we've seen on our LinkedIn data, although business are trying to transform, but we also seen that there is a gap in terms of skills that's required to perform on that state jobs. So a lot of times we've seen companies are transforming how they hire people, right? So for now, if you've seen from the World Economic job review or paper, they're saying like skills is the new currency, right? So if you can take a look at that report, there are 10 new skills that's required by 2025. When you take a look at those skill sets, most of them are soft skills. What we call them now is the power skills. Yeah, so a lot of employees right now, or students in this case, a lot of you will be required to learn more into like these power skills, such as like building relationship or communication skills, and also problem-solving skills that they need to learn how to do it. But of course, don't you worry, right? all these skills can be acquired over time. So you will have time to acquire them, to learn, and most of all is being curious, right? So that is the skills that's required. But at the same time, we've seen in the platform a growth of jobs that's being posted on LinkedIn. So comparing to pre-pandemic, right? So between 2020 to 2021, we've seen an increase of 60% of jobs being posted on LinkedIn in APAC. So potential opportunities huge, and definitely we are in the I'm more into opportunistic as a person. I understand that the current economy and also the inflations that's looming, but there is a opportunity of all companies and economy to grow and pivot. So definitely a lot of opportunities for all of us to grasp.
Oh, thank you so much, Ibu Lani. I think I also would like to highlight something that you have said and mentioned earlier regarding the, the development of these job opportunities also requires the development of of a personal development for this future career seekers. And I also agree that I think right now skills is the new currency. So I guess it's no longer like more like material things, but more towards how can we perform well, at our future careers, and how can we benefit from that too, in a professional level. Thank you. But I also would like to discuss a little bit about this issue with Mas Eddie as a co-head of people at Awan Sunai. How do you think the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the future of work? Does it also change anything, like when it comes to how people are working at Awan Tunai during the COVID-19? Or like, is there something that we can learn from this era of pandemic?
Okay, thanks, Mas Iqbal, for the question. So I think echoing again to Ibu Mahuran and Mbak Lani. Hi, Mbak Lani. We've been connecting. Awantuna is one of the company being helped by LinkedIn. So yeah, it's nice to reconnect again. So yeah, I think echoing to what's the point before that, I think in the era of the early development of startup industry, like technical skill like data science, product management, and software engineering is something that is very scarce, right? But over the times, like the number of talent is growing, even though it's like maybe distributed in certain countries. And now the soft skill is very important to make how the digital work is better and more effective. So in the dynamics that we are experiencing in Awan Tunai, so there are three main skills that I think in the youth generation is I think need to focus on improving. Is the first is the communication skill, and the second is the time management skill, and the third is the data-driven and cybersecurity safety. So why communication is important? It's either verbal, written, or English. So maybe in the decades ago, like if you are in Indonesia or in Indonesia in particular, like you will only use English when you're working in a multinational company. But right now, every single local startup, when they're reaching to certain stages, they will definitely hire global talent. It's either in Singapore, India, China, even US, or another talent market. So it's something inevitable. It's become very minimum requirement. And why communication is important? Because one, in the digital era, we're not gonna meet up with our colleague every day. So it is very prone to partial communication to happen, right? So if you are not having a good communication skill, either in written and verbal, the chance for having misunderstanding and miscollaboration will be much even bigger in the workplace. So yeah, I think communication is something very crucial, especially you're working different time zone, different understanding on a certain topic. And the second is about time management. Especially in 129, like we enable people working from different part of the globe. Like we have team from the US, which is 12 hours different, having people working from the UK, which is 6 hours difference, and Singapore and India and China. So time management is important because we we want to encourage the employee to work in their most productive time. So we divided the type of work into independent works and collaborative work. For independent works, we give flexibility for them to do at their most productive time. But for collaboration works, the needs to really think about what is the time that is most productive for the most participant is something that is, I think, important. And the last, I think, data-driven and cybersecurity. I mean, like most of our market is in Indonesia, but then we have team in India and China who doesn't really close to the market. So what they really know is about the data that they get from the information of the local team in Indonesia, right? So speaking and delivering ideas and iterating it by data will be better to get buy-in and from the other counterpart, right? And while cybersecurity safety is very important, the data, the document is everywhere. So it doesn't mean like, like you're in sales, but you have to know cybersecurity skills. No, but at least you know exactly how to ensure that this is going to be pretty safe or pretty secure, not to share confidential or any important information to the outside.
Especially, I also agree, especially when it comes to technology, a lot of our works are now done online. And obviously, when it comes to all of the sensitive data, it is very crucial to really ensuring like the safety and also the security of the data itself. Because maybe if it's not very much paying attention, it's going to maybe cause like a data leak that can cause so much loss for the companies and etc. And I think outside of that, the communication skills and also time management is also something that the future the future youth who is looking for opportunities, something that they need to really pay closer attention on. But I think if we talk about earlier, we've been talking about skills and also things that it's important for the new job seeker to pay a closer attention on. But I also wanted to know more about, obviously, when it comes to a job seeker, they wanted to have something that is sustainable, something that that they can hold on to for a long time. We don't. If we take a look and nowadays trend, a lot of people are actually going into a certain company and then like 1 year later they have already gone to like a new company. And I think this is a new trend or like something that we have that we need to also anticipate. So maybe I would like to ask first to Ibu Mahuran. I think talking about that issue, we also talk about creating a sustainable workplace for the future employees. In your opinion, what are some of the crucial part or important things that we need to pay attention on to create that sustainable working environment for younger generation or future employees?
Okay, thank you, Iba. Okay, before I answer to your questions, I just want to add what Ibu Leni and also Andy share about the skills part and also about the area that the youth should have. Okay, so you can see that now is a borderless talent. When we know about the borderless talent, it's actually like you are here in Malaysia, but you work for the other country. So the company is based in US, it's based in London, it's everywhere. So you can see that the opportunity is there, the job is there. So if you want to be competitive and to go to that angle, so what Andy said is correct and what Lenny is correct is where you have to, instead of you focus only on the technical skill, this is what you study in the university, but you also look at the soft skill that being mentioned by Andy, like communication, the problem solving, the articulation. This is very important for the youth. And remember, the company will look into that, okay, during the interview. Okay, of course, they will look at your technical part and they also look at it. So it's a borderless talent and there's a lot of opportunity. You just make sure that you go there to compete. You have to equip yourself before you go to the employment. Okay, to answer your questions in terms of the sustainability, okay, when we are actually looking at who are there in this active labor force. I'm talking about, is it which generation? If I share what we have here in Malaysia, okay, based on the statistic on the active labor force, okay, it's about 50 million, and 50% is actually come from the generation 20, the age group of 25 to 30 something. So this is all in the generation, the Gen Z, and you have to understand the value. Okay, yes, dollar and cent is their hygiene, but they look more. When they look more, so the companies, okay, must make sure to meet what they want. Okay, you can see that the subject that we must manage is not only the digital tools for them to do work, they also look of the values that they are looking at. So one of the reason, they say, okay, this is based on our study, when we had this pandemic in 2022, we worked together with UNDP, to find, the topic of our survey is this: making flexible work, so towards a better, more inclusive the work life practices. So in this report, okay, it shows that employees, 60%, and the employers 63% reported that productivity still maintained even though they stay at home. Okay, so so and after we after we on the endemic, after pandemic we go endemic, right? They also say that yes, okay, the productivity is still maintained. So meaning that this generation, the talents are looking, okay, for a flexi work environment. So we have to, as a company, from me, we have to sustain this. So they have to make sure, okay, how to retain their talent, and how they retain talent, to understand their need, the other side, what they want. Okay. So to summarize, what I said is, we must understand what they look for, not only the money, okay, but they also look for the values like the flexibility, the recognition, because if they are not recognized, they know that they are well versed, they know that they have the skill, and they know there's a lot of job opportunity outside there, which I mentioned, the borderless, okay, and they also want a transparency. What I want, okay, I can share here is, it's shown in the survey that the younger generation wants a very transparent communication. The way the superior talk to them, because they want empowerment. When you give the empowerment a certain project, they will happy to do that. Okay, and they want to show their skill in performing the job.
Wow, I couldn't agree more on that, Ibu Mahuran, because obviously as new talents or like future employees, they're not only looking for what we call as, transactional, or like the salary, but beyond that they're looking for, what are they working for, like the values that they can have, working on certain companies. And I think it's really true that future employees, or like, current generations, they are really looking for like transparency, and also, some flexible working hours for them, so that they can be a little bit more productive. Because I think, after the pandemic, the idea of mental health is also growing, like the concern of like mental health, and other thing related to mentality of the workers are also becoming, are also something that becomes a great discussion too. Thank you so much, Ibu Mahoran, for your answer. But I also would like to know about this topic from Ibu Lani, who is also working at LinkedIn. So, in your opinion, how can we, or like, how can company create a sustainable working environment for, let's say, future employees? Because we're talking about, earlier we're talking about mental health issues. We're talking about the employees need, and sometimes it is actually beyond the KPI of that employers themselves to do. It's so. What do you think, Ibu Lani?
Yes. So what I feel is working at LinkedIn has I'm very grateful for it, right? So at LinkedIn, we are driven by purpose. So for me, is I've been with LinkedIn 8 years. This is the longest tenure ever, actually. So LinkedIn also my sixth company. So I've been moving around as well. And previously, I was focusing on recruitment and with like 5 different companies. I actually didn't stay more than 2 years. Like every year I move. Longest was 2 years. There's one company, but when I joined LinkedIn, I sensed the purpose, the bigger purpose. Why am I here, right? So every single job that I do, every single activities that I do, I know that I'm making an impact. So I think nowadays, because of this COVID-19, a lot of companies are revisiting and reimagining their purpose and reimagining their culture, right? So because we know that working without a purpose, it's useless, right? That's why a lot of people around the world resign. So I'm sure that you all heard about the Great Resignation, right? So what we see on the platform is people shifting, right? So especially last year, we've seen people shift from company A to company B, 60% more compared to the pre-pandemic globally, right? So it means that employees are thinking like why they're working, where they're working as well. So flexibility, like Bu Mahuran mentioned, is very critical, right? So a lot of employees who didn't get the flexibility, they just quit, right? So because they're also like thinking like why should I just work in this company where I can focus on my family and so on and so forth. So I think the pandemic has allow companies to rethink. I wouldn't say like everyone is changing now, but obviously everyone is in the right path. So if we want to attract and retain the best talent, we should be able to understand why they are actually working with you and what is their expectation. So at LinkedIn, we have this employee listening tools as well. So where every quarter we have like 10 questions asking like, how are you? And are you well supported at LinkedIn? So, and the company really values our voice. So every single quarter we'll have like different programs because they know that not everyone fits in a one size fits all model. So yeah, I think to your questions, we should, as an employer, listen to our employees more. And this is in this people-centric environment and era, we need to value our employees more as well.
Wow, thank you so much, Ibu Lani, for your answer. I think also to highlight your answer, I think outside of the what can the companies can provide to the employees, but we also wanted to know more. Like I think the company needs to learn more on what is the employees' purpose, because eventually, if they stay in a certain place and they do not know what their purpose is, chances are they're not going to stay there longer because maybe they don't feel like they fit in, or like maybe they're not really sure about the purpose that they should serve at the end of the day. So to to combine between what the company can provide for the employees and what the employees purpose is actually a really great combinations to make sure the talent retention to begin with. Thank you so much, Ibu Lani. Now, I also wanted to know more from Mas Eddie as an employer at Awan Tunai. How can Awan Tunai provide the sustainable working environment for the employees? So, on your side, how can you make sure that everyone stays at Awan tonight like longer, like maybe like 8 years, like Ibulani, or maybe longer than that? So what do you say?
Yep, yep. Okay, I think Balani is amazing. Like 8 years in startup is like very much loving the startup. Or yeah, that's amazing. Even though on tonight, like we only been for only 5 years, so nobody's worked longer as Balani in LinkedIn in our company. So yeah, I think talking about sustainable workplace, like we are talking about how the company can proactively ensure the mental well-being, the wellness, that in result that we can get a higher job satisfaction, and also higher retention, which is at the end we want to brand ourselves as a place to work that is fun yet productive. So the balance of fun and productive is very important, right? So on top of the things that Maladim is sharing, that we are enabling our recruiters to find somebody that is connected to the problem that we are solving. In our tonight, we are solving how to help the micro SMEs in FMCG supply chains, right? So from the very first place, which is in the younger generation, that is very important in terms of why I need to work in Awan Tunai, why I need to work in this company, right? But I might go more into how once they are recruited and how we retain them. So I think I got 3 points how we are enabling a sustainable working environment in Awan Tunai. The first is the flexible working environment, as Bu Mahuran mentioned. So in terms of the practicality that we just enable of implementing work from anywhere. So maybe like in the past before pandemic, like people go to the office 5 days a week, and in some company they are hybrid, which is no matter what you're doing, just go to the office 2 days per week, right? But in Awan Tunai, that we are enabling work from anywhere. Anytime you're boring in your home, that you can easily go to the office, right? And no one enforce you or push you to go to the office. So that's how the flexible working arrangement in terms of the going to the office, right? And second is about the flexible of using the leave policy, fair and flexible. So in the past, maybe you need to have a rigorous approval from your line manager to take the leave, right? Because we are working based on OKR, in which like we're not micromanaging in terms of the process or how to get to the OKR, right? So sometimes the employee can easily, okay, I'm in a mental burnout. Okay, can I take leave? Sure. Or maybe I want to work more during office hour or weekend because there is some deadline that I own myself. Then okay, you can just find a replacement of another weekday. So I think having a flexibility is very important, especially we are dealing with the tough generation, which is the Gen Z and Gen Millennials, in which the MC opening with the fact that when they find it uncomfortable, they can easily jump off to another company, right? So moving on to the next topic is the frequent engagement activities. So in the remote or digital working setting, like people usually use chat communication or meeting only talking about work, right? So when somebody meet up with or get the chat from the manager, they will associate it's only like extra burden, and this is actually the source of burnout. So enabling the line manager or the leaders of each department or division with resources to create engagement activities, ideally face to face or virtual dinner or virtual game night, is very important. So they're not only meeting up or communicating only for work stuff, right? Especially if you're joining during the pandemic, like you haven't meet them face to face. And the last point, which is I think very much important, is enabling the great leadership for the leaders, the great leadership for each line manager. Because based on the fact, a lot of people resign not because of their compensation is not satisfying or the work load is not satisfying, but a lot of things because of the manager. So what we do in Awantunai, we're not only providing review for the manager to review their team members, but we also put the component of subordinate review. So the subordinate can review the manager in multiple aspects, from their whether they are able to set a clear goal, decompose that goals into actionable plan, having technical skill that they can look up to, until to the point they're not micromanaging. And I think one of the most important in Gen Z is that whether they're able to create a better career path and giving a stretch opportunities. Because in the past, like in the baby boomers, like people usually work for lifetime in company, right? In the younger generation, in the Gen X, that will be like 5 to 10 years. In the Gen Y millennials, it's become like 3 to 5 years. But in Gen Z, it's like 6 months until 2 years. So it was like getting shorter. So having because they're not basing their existence in certain company based on time frame, but they do based on milestone. So enabling the manager to provide a clear milestone and stretch opportunity is important for them to stay in the company. Yeah, I think those three things is very important for maintaining sustainable workplace.
Oh yeah, I think I also agree to the fact that a lot of Gen Z, for instance, they're looking for maybe what can they develop themselves into when it comes to their careers as well. So I think providing them with a career stretch and also empowering them into something that is bigger than before can actually make them feel extra motivated, and maybe they feel like it's a need for them to stay longer because they wanted to develop themselves even more. So I think yeah, I think I couldn't agree more on that part, but also at the same times creating a environment where they can have more bonding outside of work is also important, because like obviously like when we do work day-to-day basis, the situation is a little bit tense, so we need something to cool that down to make things even more like in a chit chat situation. So like the bonding is going to be even stronger within the teams itself. Thank you so much, as Eddie. And maybe like if we try to create a threat on this in today's workplace, everything is pretty much digitalized, right? And I feel like this trend also related to the strategy that company needs to address, especially to retain their talent, to create a more sustainable working environment, and especially to create a feeling that they are actually working effectively in a digital settings. If I would like to ask also to Ibu Mahuran related to these matters, in your opinion, what is considered as an ideal digital workplace that maybe future employees needs to know more?
Okay, to answer your questions, because I come from a government side, okay, so in terms of how to, because we want to make sure that when we want to implement the flexible work arrangement, okay, um, even if when we do our study, okay, you can see that the large MNC company, multinational company, they have no problem in implementing the FWA during the pandemic also, because prior to pandemic they have the policy intact, yeah. But now we also have to look at the category of the industry that are small medium enterprise. Okay, this is where they face the challenge, the how to implement that, okay, and to sustain their talent. So that is where I come from the government side. The government of Malaysia is providing a budget. There is a budget announcement last year, and how we want to help this company, okay, to create the flexible what kind of tools needed, okay, to make sure that they implement the FWA effectively and to sustain their talents, and work with them for certain period. I agree with Andy, in this younger generation, their duration of staying in one company is shorter. Okay, it's also being highlighted in if I can remember, it's in the EY report, yeah, it's an young report where they do globally. They said that yes, they most of the answer, they are about 80% of the of the findings say that they will stay in the company within this 12 months, something like that. Yeah? So, okay, talking about the policy that the company that the government should have is actually is where it should be like first how they deem the company, okay, to implement this FWA. So we conduct that readiness assessment. I'm talking about the FWA readiness assessment because we want to know, okay, at what angle that whether you have zero knowledge how to implement FWA, whether yes you have implemented FWA but in the moderate way and or whether you are at the advanced. Okay, so from that, okay, we will have the particular company, okay, according to their percentage of readiness then. Yeah. So when your question is the sustainability, this is one of the program that we do, yeah, at Talent Corp. Okay, to make sure that if you want to maintain, okay, the ideal workspace is must be flexible and mobile. Okay, not in terms of the hours, but in terms how they do their perform their work daily. So this is actually is very important not only for the talent but also for the company. The flexibility and the tools needed. For example, if the talent need to work from home, for example, okay, what kind of facility that they need, okay, from the company. Right? So the HR people, they should think of, okay, instead of the allowance for parking, okay, maybe because of they now 2 days working at home or 3 days working at office. So maybe we can change that kind of incentive to a data line, okay? And the talent may need a data line, right? For for a meeting, to set up their all those connection, So that kind of I would say the elements, the indicator that the company should look at, and of course it will be appreciated by the talent and this is and will be stay longer in the company. But of course, okay, if they have reason, to leave, and I believe, they have a very a strong and justification for them for a career development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibu Maharan. I also agree with that because, like, um, obviously, it's not only how ready the company is, but also what can the companies provide to the talent. In terms of how can they perform well and how can they perform great at work. So it's more towards deciding what is the priority of the companies can provide for the employees to boost their performance at work too. Thank you so much, Ibu Mahuran. But let's move on to Ibu Lani. So almost same questions regarding this very digital era. Obviously, LinkedIn, social media are something that a lot of the new talent or like the future employees are using to search for opportunities. So, as someone working under LinkedIn in a business-oriented social networking website, mainly used for professional and networking, how do you see the current status of workplace in ASEAN, especially in terms of innovation and transformation, and maybe like the availability of new opportunities for this young generation or like the new or the future employees?
Okay, thanks, Mas Iqbal. That's a very long question. I'll try to give a brief answer, right? So basically, LinkedIn mission is to help human being all over the world so they can be connected and be productive and successful at the end, right? So that is our mission, to connect everyone in the world. And our overarching vision is to help to create equal economic for every single individual in the world. So how we are actually doing that is by creating a platform whereby they can connect with each other to share knowledge, to find opportunities, and to if it's an entrepreneur or companies to sell their products, right? To create economic of the world, basically. So every single features that you see on LinkedIn is actually designed for you, so you can help yourself to connect with opportunities. Because opportunity doesn't mean just to connect with a new job, but you can connect with someone like a mentor, a coach, or potential potential person that could be your co-founder in the future. You never know, right? Or anyone that you met that can share new ideas with you. So basically, the opportunity is endless in this world. So like Bu Mahuran said, is borderless, right? So I will focus on how we as a individual can excel in this borderless world, right? So since opportunity is by the grasp of our hands, then what we need to do is to empower ourselves with new skills, to be resourceful, right? To make sure that be curious, because that skills is the new currency, and the shelf life of skills is getting shorter, right? So whatever that you learn today may not be relevant tomorrow or next year, right? So having that curiosity to know more, to understand the market trends, will enable you to be different and stay competitive in this landscape. Right. So what we see from the platform itself, to your question, Iqbal, is a lot of companies are posting remote jobs. Right. So remote meaning, again, to the borderless statement, is you can apply to any position in Mexico, in the US, in Europe, right? As long as they put remote work, that means anyone can apply. However, right, the bigger question is, are you qualified? Right? In order for you to qualify this type of role, what you need to do, right? What skills that you need to upskill, what people that you need to connect, right? So how to build network in this borderless world is a very critical skills that we need to master. And definitely because of this borderless statement and opportunities, a lot of innovations are being created. So in a way, quoting this DBS CEO, Piyush Gupta said, every company is now a digital company, right? All companies in any industries will require digital skills. Yeah, be it you are in IT, HR, finance, supply chain, etc. You will need digital skills. So I think that's my answer. Thank you, Iqbal.
Thank you, Vulani. I think, quoting from you also, I think it's also very important for the younger generations or like the future employees to really know themselves, to really know what skills they need to improve, to really know their purpose in searching an opportunities, and only then they can, they can prepare themselves, they can make themselves eligible for a certain position. Because, as you mentioned earlier, regarding the eligibility, before they enter certain opportunities or before they apply certain opportunities, they have to really make sure whether, okay, am I eligible for this position? If not, maybe what can I do to improve myself so that I can be eligible? So I guess it is also for everyone at home watching who is also looking for opportunities to know what you're looking for and know what skills you need to improve in order to be accepted or eligible in certain job. Thank you so much, Ibulani. Now, maybe going back to Mas Eddie a little bit, because like since earlier you mentioned regarding the, let's say, innovation of the new job, like opportunities for the employees to have a flexible time, and also a lot of different things that can provide them with such an ease so that they can stay longer in a company. But in your opinion, as someone who is also an employer at the Awan Tunai, how to be agile and flexible with all of this innovation so that a company can keep providing for their future employees so that they can have a better welfare, let's say, in the future.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think one of the key words that is always mentioning by Bu Mahuran and Bulani is two words like borderless talent sourcing, and then second is a flexible working arrangement. I think those are the keys to be agile and flexible, given the current state of every company reimagining their end-to-end activities in terms of securing talent and retaining talents. So yeah, I think there are three things that I'm thinking Awantuna is doing, and I think this is might be a good example for another employers who is actually having privilege to do so. So first, borderless talent sourcing. So in the past, let's say we're not having enough talent in local talent in Indonesia, so we are going to hire from globally, but at the end we are going to ask them to relocate to Indonesia, right? So I think that's something that is undoubtedly has been changing. So in terms of where we are recruiting is now limitless and borderless, and even the number amount of hours of work is also negotiable. So for instance, in Awan Tunai, we have a couple of scholar or academics faculty or even interns coming from top school in UK and the US. In the past, like it's not possible a student or a lecturer in the US like doing some data science work in Indonesia. But given the current situation, they can do that there. And for us, it's better having them like working 20 hours per week rather than like no one is working on it. So I think having a flexibility in terms of where we're recruiting, what type of employment we are enabling is important. And the second thing that is also important is about personalized HR policy. Like in the past, like we might use like so-called a blanket policy to every individuals in the company. As we know that we have two different convergence, right, in terms of demography, their age, like from in Awan Tunai, we host employees from across generation, like from baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Each of them have different needs. Each of them have different values or things or benefit that is important for them, and each of them has different what we call it mission or values that they're looking for in a company, right? For instance, when we're talking about life insurance, like a Gen Z, like they're still healthy, they're so optimistic. They don't need this. They are better to have like allowance to access for physical and mental wellness, like for instance, gym membership, or access to psychologists, or access to any professional mental health well-being. So having personalized HR policy is very important to cater different needs of demography and different needs of people across different geography as well. And the last, I think, which is very important because in the remote in the remote digital workplace, sometimes like the C level or even the company management doesn't have a direct reach to every layer of its employee. Having a decentralized power to its line manager to not only empower, not only like giving direction of works, but also enabling its localized line manager or team leader to create engagement, to empower them with the right works or the message that we are building, or even when we are cascading the cultural values, we are having a tendency to decentralize. So I think like in Awan Tunai, we have different generation scattered in different department. Like sales department usually are hosting employees with Gen X and baby boomers, and they are typically connecting with our SMEs right? So while our tech team, like they're usually Gen Z, who is high tech, and they're building like these apps and technology. So definitely having a decentralized leaders who is enable and catering different needs of empowerment and work type and flexibility is important. That's why I think personalized, decentralized, as well as flexibility in terms of recruiting talent is the key to us maintaining our agility.
Wow. Okay. So personalized, decentralized, and also flexibility to recruit the new talents is actually those are the factors to make sure that to be agile, as a company in the future job and also opportunities with the current trend of this digitalizations and the borderless, once again the borderless era of work and also career path. All right. After this, we'll be trying to cater and also answer the question from the audience. But maybe before that, I would like to also ask another questions to Ibu Mahuran regarding the digital workplace that can actually improve the job satisfaction and also talent retention. As Ibu Mahuran also mentioned earlier, you're mentioning regarding that the flexibility and also the transparency that this new talent or like future employees can access can make sure that maybe that can contribute to talent retention and also another things that can create them to stay longer in a company. But at the same time, I also wanted to know more on how can adopting digital workplace improve the employees' job satisfaction and talent retention. Ibu Mahuran. Oh, sorry. Ibu Mahuran has already left. Maybe I can ask this to Ibu Lani instead. So, regarding this era of digitalization, maybe in your opinion, as someone who is working at LinkedIn, how can this digital situation and digital settings can provide satisfaction, for the future employees, and maybe what are other factors that maybe can contribute to this satisfaction?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I so agree with Mas Eddie 100% on what he does on with 129 is really inspiring. I think that's the word, to know that companies in Indonesia such as 129 already thinking ahead, right? So again, I will highlight like what he said, personalization, right? So there is no one size fits all. Okay, every human being is created differently, and we have different traits and different characters, different wants, different needs. Right, so it's really challenging for the employers to know what if each individual needs are, unless the individual, the employees are being empowered to voice out. So it's a lot of it's a lot of balancing, I guess, right? So of course, digital capabilities is important, but at the same time, we have tons of digital tools, millions, if I may say, right? So every HR will have 10 or 20 tools that they're using. Every finance will have 1 or 10 tools. So as a individual, we need to step up to analyze which are the tools that are suitable for that company, right? For you, individual to use, so you can be productive and effective in your job, in your performance. So I think it has to be some balance, right? So if you are able to know what type of tools that's suitable for the company, and your value will be, your thoughts and suggestion will be the valuable things that the company will hear from you, then definitely there's a synergy there that you will you will be happy to work in that company because you feel valued, right? Or and then you feel that you're making an impact to the company. And at the same time, as a company, they will be valuable. They will treat you nicely because you add value to the company and make the company successful. So I think coming back to the balance itself, right? It has to be a balance between digital tools that you'll be using, but at the same time, it's your responsibilities in a sense as a worker, as a employer, to know which one are the one that are suitable or useful.
Yes. So
That's from me.
it should be like a balance between the digital tools that we that can provide the effectivity of working and also the accuracy of working, but at the same time also how can this work situation and also the job descriptions that they have to do can actually fulfill their values and also feeling of validation. I think I need to also highlight that because I believe that it is beyond the OKR, like beyond the KPI that a certain employees needs to achieve, but more than that, they also need the validation. They also need that they feel empowered so that they can feel content and also maybe feel fulfilling in their current careers as well. Thank you so much. All right, now we are going to open a question and answer for all of our audience. So for those who is joining us on site and also online can certainly send a question and these questions will be answered by two of our expertise. Okay, so I have got some of the questions from YouTube and also Twitter, and maybe those who are on site, you can also raise your hands and ask question later on. But let's take a look on the first question from YouTube. So this question comes from Renata Budiman, and she wants to know: is it a good or bad thing that people move from one job to another job very quickly? Maybe I would like to know first from Mas Eddie, and then after that we're going to hear from Ibu Lani on this issue. So, Mas Edi, what do you think? Is it a good or bad thing?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very delicate question. Yeah, because I'm currently also involved in recruitment, and sometimes in senior level, like I interview myself in terms of the HR interview, right? So, well, there is no standard of whether it's good or bad. But what lies behind there are resigning is something that is very interesting to go further, right? So yeah, I think in a lot of cases, people who has a grit and perseverance, they might not gonna be very quick living. So for instance, when they are in the workplace that they are being what we call it like in an comfortable situation, and then it's either because of a person issue, manager issue, or compensation issue. We will go drill down whether what have you done to advocate what you think is best. What have you done to elaborate or to escalate that there is an issue? What have you proposed of the solution to make yourself getting better positioning? Either it's in the career path or in the compensation. I think Mbak Lani also mentioned about how you communicate better, right? Not only about digital or something, but it's also how you can have that self advocacy. So if we drill down further, and then the person or the candidate mentioned that they have done A, B, C, but is not being accommodated by the company previously, and then I'm looking for a better opportunity, I think that's something that is okay. But if when we drill down and yeah, because I'm I feel like this is too low the salary, but I haven't done anything. So we want to avoid like a victim mindset. Yeah, especially when you are in a startup, we are solving a new problem. We are proposing a new innovation. A lot of things is difficult. So when somebody facing difficulties and they don't do anything and they mention and they're saying to the people that, oh, I'm in uncomfortable situation and unfortunate, but I haven't done anything, that is the victim mindset that we are avoiding in recruiting. So yeah, circling back to the question whether is it good or not, it depends on the reasoning. Yeah, that's from me.
So it really depends on the reasoning why a certain candidates or like a certain talent wants to go out from the position, and maybe like the reasoning can also be a room for improvement too for like the companies, right? To improve better and to provide better maybe in the current in the future position for like the future employees. Thank you so much, Mas Edi. Maybe let's go to Ibu Latni. What do you think? Is it something good or something bad? Mas Edi previously mentioned it depends on the reason. What do you think?
Yeah, so I do 100% agree with him. So from me, this coming from my experience, who move job every a year, I felt, and I was a recruiter before, right? So every job requires you to add value, right? So if you're not adding value to that job, to that company, that means you need to like have a self-awareness. Why am I here? So these are the questions that I ask myself every time. So it's not saying like Mas Edi said, a victim mindset, like, oh, because I wasn't paid more, so I want to move. So but what have you done to that company that hired you, right? So if they are hiring you, that means they see something in you. That means you are you have something that you need to build, grow, and implement and add value. So I think it depends. I wouldn't judge by people by just from their resume, moving to company. I will be intrigued on the story, like how and why they are making that decision and what have they learned along the way. Because as you know, human being is not perfect. We are not perfect, but we have an advantage of that imperfections to learn and to make our life better and our community better. So yeah, that's my answer.
It also depends on the reason and also the story behind, when someone is resigning. But I also am very intrigued with the fact that sometimes, maybe like for Mas Edi or Ibu Lani, when it comes to talent, like when they say they wanted to resign for a certain position, but at the same time, the company are like seeing something like, okay, this talent is very potential, but at the same time, they want to go out from the position. So do you think a lot of companies also try to like, okay, maybe we can provide something for you so that you can stay. Is that mechanism or that counter mechanism necessary, or like as a company, do you like let go this talent, just instantly? Like, okay, if you want to find a job, then just go, or like, oh, there's another opportunities that we can offer basically to cater their needs after that discussion. Maybe Mas Edi first, and then.
Yeah, sure. So actually, when we are talking about retention and avoiding people to resign, there's two step, right? What is the post activity after somebody acts resignment, and what is the pre activity that to avoid even people to resign, right? So I think there's two ways. The first is that I think one of the key is about fair and transparency, right? So in Awan Tunai, we try our best to provide the fair market compensation. So I think it reduced the reasoning why people leave because of unfair compensation. And the second is that we are having like some check-in, and also psychological safety survey, in which like when an employee feel out like they feel unsafe psychologically, like maybe on the limit of 80%, which is like 4 in the rating of 0 to 5, we usually reach out to them. What is happening? What can be improved? Even though like it's not necessarily like because of the manager might for instance, like the manager has 5 team members, and there is only 1 team members who fill out like psychological safety survey very low. So in this case, we need to drill down what is the reasoning and what can be improved in terms of the company, in terms of the manager. So those are the activity to avoid people resign, just like a leading indicator before people resign. And it's quite effective because from a couple of times we are releasing psychological safety survey, like usually who fill out low psychological safety survey, like not so long, like they are, are asking for resign. And then the next thing is about what is like somebody already, sending the resign letter, or the magic letter for some employees, right? So definitely we will, identify whether the person is a high performing talent or not. Definitely, we always have a place for high performing talents. So there are a couple of activities. It's like, of course, we're empathizing the issues, the problems. It's either about the compensation. It's either about, as Mbak Lani mentioned, sometimes, you've been working as a product manager for 3 years, and in the day of that third year, that you lose your values of doing that work. But we know this person is fundamentally high performing talent, so we are always have a place, in another department or in another role that could, fulfill what he is searching or she is searching without moving to another company. So basically, those are the activities that we thought we can proactively doing. But some in some cases, like we have experience, like a product manager resign, but to build his or her own company, we definitely support it, because like maybe you've been heard like PayPal mafia, Gojek mafia. When somebody's resign, it's not necessarily a bad thing, meaning that, oh, his time here to learn, or his time here to add values, or his time or her time here, in her life journey is enough, and he want or she want to use this learning in our tonight to build something else bigger or better.
Wow. So basically, listening towards their reason and to provide better, let's say, better place for that person is the key to really make sure that everything goes according to maybe what's the company plan, and also the persons itself based on their base reasoning. But maybe I also would like to ask this to Bu Lani. In your opinion, is that mechanisms is something that a company needs to do, or just let the person go?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is for employers to have a career progression plan for each of their employees. So as Adi mentioned as well, the manager should be the person who prioritize every career transformations discussions with the team. So at LinkedIn, we have this, we call it Next Play. So every quarter, our managers will ask us, like, what is your next play? What do you want to do? Even though you just joined for like 3 months, right? So next play doesn't mean that you have to go out of the company, but it could be in your role as well. What do you want to achieve, right? So within the next 6 to 12 months. And these are the discussions that all managers have, and then they will ask like what type of learning, progression, upskilling that you need from us, from the manager, obviously, and they're willing to support you in that journey. So in a way that when an employees decided to resign, it's already planned like 6 or 12 months before. Maybe they don't have any internal opportunities that are aligning to this person career projection. So it's okay to leave. We will be very supportive of them to leave. And at LinkedIn, we are focusing on boomerang hires. So that means people who left LinkedIn and wants to go back. So our hires, like 40% is actually boomerang hires.
Oh, so they actually go back to LinkedIn after going out. Yeah, that really, I think that really says about how LinkedIn is running the companies, how that they actually listen to the employees, and maybe the opportunities are there for them. Just like you, Ibu Lani, you stays there for about 8 years, and it says a lot about the company itself. All right. Okay. Moving on to the next questions. Next questions comes from Irvan from Twitter. If and he wants to know, if I stay in a long time in my current work, is it okay, or should I follow the trend to look for other opportunity? But I love my job though. Maybe Bu Lani first can answer that.
Yeah.
Should Irfan join the trend of going out from his job?
Yeah. Thanks, Irfan, for the question. So the answer is no, you should never follow trends. Right? Trends is just trends, but it's better for you to create your own trend rather than follow others. Yeah. So understand, people or you will feel FOMO, but it's okay. That's a normal feeling. But I think you need to ask yourself first, like, am I really happy in this role? If you are, why? And then ask deeper questions like the onion, right? Onion, you have lots of layers. So peel one layer and then ask another layer and ask another layer until you couldn't answer any questions. And be sure to ask the people around you as well, not only your family, but your colleagues, your ex-colleagues, or any random guys that you find on LinkedIn, just to ask for advice. So yeah, that's
Thank
my
you. So
question.
Irfan, do not follow a trend unless you needed to. You have to create your own trend, just like what Pulani has said. What about Mas Eddie? What do you think? Should Irfan follow the trend or not?
Okay, before answering that, I just want to say thank you to Mbak Lani ya. Tadi kayak got like two ideas about apa
Mhm.
tadi boomerang hire, which is amazing ya. Kayak somebody who's been in the company and they learned something else outside the company and they brought back, the new learning. And the second one I think is about next play ya. Next play. I think that's very amazing ideas that might be can be implemented in Awan Tunai. Okay, so getting back again to the question, definitely not. I totally agree with Mbak Alani. Like, I think what is important is you should conduct your own self discovery. So, what is actually your strength? What is actually important for you? Is it salary? Is it I mean, like those things are not wrong. I mean, like when you are a sandwich generation, you have to, take care of your family. Salary is important, right? The well-being of your family is important. And second is whether it's the product, the branding of the company, or whether it's okay. I don't care about salary. I mean, like not that like very high salary, but I have a loving peers and managers that is very important for me. So yeah, I think the self discovery is very important. Tadi Mbak Lani apa namanya apa namanya analogize dengan peeling the onion ya. Imagine you're peeling the onion, pasti you'll be crying at the end because you discover yourself gitu. So be vulnerable and be reaching out gitu when okay, I feel like stuck like in the company, then you can reach out to HR or to maybe to your hiring manager, or if that's not enough, then you can go to another manager in the different department, or even in certain company where the organization is very transparent and borderless, like you can just directly to the C level. So if those activities has been done and nothing changed, and I think you're good to go to another company. But if you haven't done that, I think you better self-discovery and advocate what you really need from the company. Because from the company point of view, I better do internal promotion rather than hiring a new leaders. Hiring is costly, is very need time, and also there is a risk that might be not culture fit or not job fit, right? So I think from that point of view, I believe it's good for employees, whether they are quite long or still very short in the company, but then they don't really feel like satisfied. Just do self-discovery, what is important, and advocate. And let's see, the magic happens.
Okay, so don't take decisions too fast. Yeah, we need to actually discover what is actually happening. What do we feel about something? And if we don't know how we feel, we can ask for opinion. Just like what Ibu Lani said, like we have to peel one questions after another to really getting to know the correct answer, the real answer of our question. All right. So with that last questions, it was also getting near with our ending of today's talk show. Thank you so much, Ibulani, for the amazing, amazing insight from your side, from LinkedIn as well. I think we agree that everyone is learning something new from you. And also, Mas Eddie, thank you so much for your insights as well from Awan Tunai. I believe that in this very digitalized era where trends are created and innovations are also happen, it is also very important for the future employees to know what they're looking for and to know exactly their skill that they need to progress in order to gain or acquire certain position in the new working environment. With that being said, thank you so much for all of our experts. We learned a lot of things from you, and I hope everyone's at home is also learning something from today's discussion. Thank you so much. I'm Iqbal Darmawan. I'll give it to the MC. Thank you so much.
Everyone for your participation today, and I would like to thank our speaker and moderator today for sharing your knowledge with us. And before we end today's event, I would like to invite everyone to follow our social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at AT America. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter too for more updates from us. And now, I think it is time to say goodbye. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Again, my name is Andrea, and see you at the next At America event. Thank you.